Welcome back. Last week we looked back at 2011. This week we want to look forward. Tonight our focus is South Asia. Will this be a year of newfound friendships between two nuclear-armed neighbors? Will Pakistan's tense history with the United States take a new turn? Well, earlier I sat down with Easwar. He is the publisher of Desi News and CanadaBound Immigrant. Krishnan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
2012, I want to focus on the relationships in South Asia in 2012. Let's start with India and Pakistan's relationship. We knew that there was a sense that maybe talks would resume after the Cricket World Cup in 2011, and then we heard that they were going to continue to keep talking as they always will. Are we going to still see that, them continuing to keep talking?
Every time Manmohan Singh and Yusuf Raza Gilani meet, it's always a historic summit. They always meet, pose for the cameras, shake hands, go back home, and nothing ever changes. It's more of the same old all the time. If you asked the regular, normal street people in India or Pakistan, they would tell you that they have no quarrel with the people across the border. They will tell you that, you know, we listen to the same music, we eat the same food, we are the same people. In fact, we were one country until 1947, until the politicians came in and drew a border between us. But if you heard the political rhetoric that today, you would think that these two people can never meet, have a common meeting ground. The reason why every time the politician speaks up, he never lets, on either side of the border, the wounds of 1947 to heal. Just recently, a government of India announced an eye-popping $104 billion upgrade for its military. Pakistan, on the other hand, spends 10 times more on its military budget than it does on its health. It commits 4% of its GDP to military. So there is a lot of military expenditure on both sides of the border, and I think that if you follow the money trail, then you realize that where this whole rhetoric comes from. There are interested parties in India and Pakistan who want to keep this animosity alive.
Having you talked about the vested interest in the military, could we see more terrorist attacks?
I think so. I think terrorist attacks are orchestrated by state actors who sometimes pretend to be non-state actors. I think that's the plain and simple story of India and Pakistan. Otherwise, why would a country, India with all its superpower ambitions, it's still a third world country with two-thirds of its population living on less than $2 a day. 400 million people live on less than $1 a day. It's an astounding thing. But if you were to see the Indian politicians come overseas to places like Toronto and talk to you and I, you would think that India is this great happening place, which it is not to the common man on the street.
So in your sense, it's going to be an ongoing thing?
It is an ongoing thing, and I think it is beyond the skill set of Yusuf Raza Gilani or Manmohan Singh to actually talk peace and to come to some practical solutions. They will always keep the Kashmir issue alive.
Let's talk about Pakistan's relationship with the U.S. A lot of people have always described it as this bad marriage, but they could never get divorced. But considering what happened in 2011, especially the tail end, could there eventually be a divorce, a breaking point?
Taliban is a monster that the United States created with its own taxpayers' money, aided and abetted by Rumsfeld and then President General Ziaul Haq. They created the Taliban, they funded them, and now Taliban is antagonistic to the United States. Taliban is also antagonistic to the military in Pakistan. So they're facing a common enemy, but there are forces ever since Ziaul Haq Islamized Pakistani's military, and a lot of radical Islamic elements are part of their ISI and the Pakistani armed forces. It's very difficult to tell that who is hunting and who is being hunted. So that's it's a very complex situation there, and it is the whole thing has been created by the US, and they seem to think, part of the US thinking, especially among the Democrats, the thinking seems to be that we need Pakistan to for our own strategic interests, but on the other hand, the Republican lawmakers seem to think that no, we can do without Pakistan. And because Democrats and Republicans cannot see eye to eye in the US, there is going to be a stalemate, I think.
And it's also an election year in 2012.
2012, and I don't think anything dramatic is going to be done. Barack Obama wants us to think that, okay, we finished off with Osama bin Laden, we caught him, we caught the Pakistani army with their pants down, with him hiding in their backyard. But I don't think that's the end of the story. I think we're going to hear more of it. All that the troublemakers have to do is just to create one more reason why a terrorist attack here or another attack there, and the US will find all the reasons why it should stay on in Pakistan.
Pakistan's relationship with Afghanistan. Pakistan boycotted the talks in Bonn at the end of the year about the future of Afghanistan. How do you think that relationship's going to play out?
Well, there's going to be no change. Pakistan boycotted that the meeting in Bonn mainly not to be there front and center answering uncomfortable questions, I think. But I think that the whole world knows that as long as ISI is there, and Pakistan, the stronger power group in Pakistan is the army, I think their involvement, either as state actors or non-state actors, will continue in Afghanistan.
All right. Easwar, always a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.